My twin sister married my fiancé while I was in a coma. Now she's 6 months pregnant. On Mother's Day, my 4-year-old niece found a card wedged behind my mom's living room bookshelf. She toddled over, holding it out to me with both hands, and said, "Aunt Emma, why is Uncle Mark marrying Mommy if he was gonna marry you?" On the front of the card, in gold script, it said, "To Leah and Mark, on your wedding day." I didn't shout. I didn't rip the card up. I made one small change. I walked into the kitchen, set the card down in front of my mother and my twin sister, and asked them to tell me the truth, every part of it. That was the moment everything I thought I knew about my family cracked. My name is Emma. I'm 29 years old, and I'm from outside Portland, Oregon. I have an identical twin sister named Leah. Growing up, everyone thought twin meant same. It didn't. I was the quiet one, the planner, the responsible twin. Leah was the spontaneous one, the one who could charm an entire room in 5 minutes. Teachers mixed us up, boys mixed us up. Even our own father sometimes called us the wrong name when he was tired. Our mother had a favorite, even if she'd never admit it. Leah was the pretty one, the social one, the one who'll give me grandbabies first. I was the sensible one, the one who'll have a good career. We joked about it for years, except, looking back, it wasn't really a joke. When I met Mark at 26, it felt like I'd finally stepped into my own life. He was a software engineer, a little nerdy, kind in the quiet ways that matter. He remembered how I took my coffee, showed up to my late shifts with snacks, and actually listened when I talked about my work in physical therapy. He met Leah at a family barbecue 6 months into our relationship. I still remember the way his eyes widened when she walked in, not in a romantic way, but in a stunned, "there are two of you" way. Leah laughed, dramatic, and hugged him like they were old friends. "You picked the serious twin," she teased. "Bold choice." Mark just smiled and put his arm around me. "I like the serious twin," he said. I saw something flicker across Leah's face then. It was gone in a second, replaced by her usual grin. At the time, I brushed it off. Fast forward 18 months. Mark proposed in the park where we had our first picnic. Simple, sweet, very him. I said yes through tears, and we started planning a small fall wedding. Leah threw herself into maid of honor mode. Dress appointments, venue tours, Pinterest boards. Sometimes, though, her help felt a little pointed. She'd hold up dresses and say, "This one makes you look softer. You can be a bit sharp, Em." Aw? Let me handle the speeches. You always overthink things. There were tiny moments that, looking back, feel like warning signs. One night, I walked back into the kitchen at my parents' house and overheard my mom and Leah talking in low voices. "Mom, well, you've always been the one men notice first. It's strange, him picking Emma." Leah, "Yeah, well, she needs a win for once, right?" They both laughed. I remember standing there, debating whether to step in or pretend I hadn't heard. I chose to pretend something I'd regret later more than almost anything else. 3 months before the wedding, everything changed. It was a rainy February night. I'd stayed late at the clinic to finish paperwork. Mark texted me. "Mark, roads are bad. Want me to pick you up?" Me, "I'll be fine. It's just 15 minutes. I'll drive slow." I left, windshield wipers on full speed, podcast playing softly. I don't remember the impact. According to the police report I later read, a driver 2 lanes over hydroplaned, hit the barrier, and bounced into my car. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't distracted. It was just one of those awful, senseless accidents. They tell me I was airlifted to the hospital, that Mark arrived before my parents, that Leah sobbed in the hallway, mascara streaking down her face. They tell me the doctors said the words no family wants to hear. Critical injuries. She's in a coma. We don't know if she'll wake up. I don't remember any of that. For me, there's just a bright restaurant where Mark is sliding a ring onto my finger. And then, nothing. When people talk about comas, they usually imagine darkness. For me, it was more like being underwater with muffled voices above me. Flashes of sound, pressure on my hand. A woman crying, a man saying, "She can't hear you like that." Every so often, I'd feel someone squeeze my fingers and whisper, "I'm here, Em. I'm not going anywhere." I was sure that voice belonged to Mark. I woke up 8 months later. The first face I saw was my mom's, distorted by tears. Her hair looked grayer. There were new lines around her mouth. "Hi, baby," she choked out. "You're back." I tried to speak. My throat felt like sandpaper. Everything hurt. A nurse leaned over me. Don't try to talk too much yet, Emma. You've been through a lot. My mind scrambled, grabbing at loose pieces. The ring. The restaurant. The crash. Where was Mark? I managed to croak. Ma. Mark? My mom's eyes flicked away just for a second. He's not here right now, she said. Let's focus on you waking up, okay? Something uncomfortable twisted in my stomach, but I was too exhausted to push. Over the next few days, the fog cleared in layers. I learned I'd had multiple surgeries, that I'd needed help to breathe, that my muscles had wasted away from months of not moving. Leah showed up on day 3, bursting into the room with a bright smile and a bouquet too big for the bedside table. Oh my God, Em, look at you, she rushed out, already tearing up. You scared us so bad. She hugged me gently, careful of the wires and tubes. I noticed the ring on her finger, a simple gold band I didn't recognize. New jewelry? I rasped, trying to make a weak joke. She flushed. Her hand dropped to her side. Just something Mom gave me, she said quickly. How do you feel? Over the next week, people came and went. Nurses, therapists, a hospital chaplain, my dad, awkward and quiet, holding my hand like it might break. Mark never came. Every time the door opened, my heart lurched. Every time it was someone else, a little part of me sank. Finally, after 2 weeks of rehab sessions and painful attempts at standing, I asked my doctor. Where's my fiancé? I said. The words sounded foreign in my mouth. Has he been here? The doctor hesitated. A careful, practiced pause. He was very involved at the beginning, she said. He signed a lot of the early consent forms, but after a couple of months, she trailed off. You might want to talk to your family about that. Later that day, a nurse came in to change my IV bag. As she adjusted the drip, she smiled faintly. You gave your husband quite the scare, she said. My husband? I frowned. I'm not married. She blinked. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood. There was a guy here all the time at first. Everyone thought... She trailed off as my face fell. I shouldn't have said that. Let me just... It's okay, I whispered. But it wasn't. That night, I asked my mom again. Where is Mark? I said. Did he leave? She looked tired, really tired. Honey, he stayed for months, she said. He was here every day at first, but the doctors, they said you might not wake up. He was grieving. He was a mess. I swallowed around the knot in my throat. Did he break up with me? I asked. He wrote you a letter, she said. He said he couldn't keep sitting in that room, not knowing if you'd ever open your eyes. He said he was sorry. A letter, while I was unconscious. My mom reached for my hand. Sometimes life isn't a fairy tale, she said softly. People can't always wait forever. Something about the way she said it made my skin prickle, like she was defending him ahead of time. I looked down at my bare left hand. The engagement ring I'd loved so much was gone. We had to remove it after the accident, my mom said quickly when she saw me looking. Your fingers were too swollen. Where is it? I asked. She paused a fraction of a second too long. Somewhere safe, she said. In the weeks that followed, I threw myself into rehab, learning to walk again, learning to sit up without blacking out. It was easier to focus on physical pain than the deep, hollow ache where my relationship had been. Leah visited regularly, chatting about TV shows, funny memes, her boring job. Every so often, she'd touch her stomach absent-mindedly or wince when she stood up too fast. I noticed. I just didn't connect the dots. Not yet. 3 months after I woke up, I was discharged from the hospital and moved back in with my parents temporarily. My body felt like it belonged to someone else. Simple things, like walking to the bathroom or brushing my hair, took more energy than my old 10-hour workdays. Leah helped sometimes driving me to follow-up appointments, picking up prescriptions. One afternoon, she picked me up for a checkup with my neurologist. As we buckled in, she adjusted her seatbelt awkwardly over her stomach. The bump was visible now, small but no longer something you could ignore. So, I said carefully, are we pretending you're not clearly pregnant, or... She froze, then let out a nervous laugh. Wow, just straight in, huh? I forced a smile. I mean, I've been in a coma, not under a rock. She shrugged, eyes on the road. Yeah, I was going to tell you. It's just been a lot. Who's the dad? I asked, trying to keep my tone light. Anyone I know? Her fingers tightened on the steering wheel. It's complicated, she said. That answer sat between us like a rock. At my appointment, while I sat on the exam table swinging my feet, my neurologist scrolled through my chart. "We're really happy with your progress," she said, "considering everything you've been through: surgeries, the coma, the stress of your personal situation." I looked up. "What do you mean, personal situation?" She frowned at her screen. "Well, your change in emergency contact, for one. It looks like your fiancé was listed as your primary. Then your sister. It's all in here." "Can I see?" I asked. She hesitated, then angled the monitor slightly. There it was, in the system. Primary emergency contact, initial. Mark Lewis, fiancé. Updated emergency contact, 5 months into coma. Leah Carter, sister. The date stamped next to the change made my chest tighten. It was about 5 months after the accident. 3 months before I woke up. "Who requested the change?" I asked. The note says, she squinted at the screen, "per spouse and family decision." "Spouse?" I repeated. She clicked into the note. "Looks like the person updating assumed the fiancé was, well, your spouse. It happens a lot. I wouldn't read into it too much." But the word stuck in my mind, spouse. On the way home, Leah was quieter than usual. As we pulled into my parents' driveway, my phone buzzed. It was a text from my cousin Jenna, the one family member who'd never really liked Leah's Queen Bee act. "Jenna, heard you're finally home. Can I visit this week? Also, there's stuff you should probably know about the last few months." My pulse kicked up. I typed back, "Me. Please. Come by whenever. I feel like everyone's not telling me the full story." Later that night, after Leah dropped me off and said a quick tense goodbye, Jenna showed up with takeout and a laptop bag. We sat at the kitchen table after my parents went to bed. "How honest do you want me to be?" she asked. "All the way," I said. "I keep feeling like I'm walking into a movie halfway through." She took a deep breath. "Okay. First, you need to know everyone thought you weren't going to wake up," she said. "The doctors were careful, but they were pessimistic." "I figured," I said quietly. "Mark was here all the time at first," she went on. "Sleeping in that awful chair, talking to you, holding your hand. It was actually sweet. Everyone thought you'd definitely get married if you woke up." "If," I repeated. She nodded. "After a couple months, he started changing. He was exhausted, withdrawn. He'd come less often. Your mom kept telling him he had to take care of himself too." "And Leah?" I asked. "She was always around," Jenna said carefully. "Bringing him coffee, sitting with him. She'd post these dramatic updates on social media about being strong for the family." My stomach turned. "About 5 months in," Jenna continued, "there was this shift. I came by one night and saw them in the hallway outside your room. He was crying. She was hugging him. It didn't look platonic." She opened her laptop and pulled up a folder. "I screenshotted some stuff because it didn't sit right with me," she said. "I didn't know if I'd ever show you, but then you woke up." On the screen, she pulled up a group chat from our cousins. There it was. "Leah, 6 months after the accident. I have something big to share. Please don't post anything publicly yet." Photo attachment. Leah and Mark in front of a courthouse, both in simple outfits, Leah holding a bouquet. "Leah, we got married today. It's what Emma would have wanted. We've been grieving her together and realized life is short. Please be happy for us." My vision blurred. My ears rang. Beneath that, my mom's message. "Mom, I know it's confusing, but they've been through so much. Let's support them. Emma wouldn't want us all stuck in the past." Another cousin had replied, "Wait, but Emma's still alive? In the hospital? This feels wrong." No one had answered that. Jenna clicked to another screenshot, a Facebook post Leah had made a month later, set so I wouldn't see it if I was ever tagged. Leah, in a flowy dress, hand on a barely there bump. The caption, "When life closes one door, it opens another. Honoring my sister every day by living fully." My stomach twisted. "So I swallowed. They got married while I was still in a coma." Jenna nodded slowly. "The doctors had just told everyone the chances of you waking up were very low." I thought of the spouse note in my medical chart. The emergency contact change. The missing ring. Leah's too quick. "It's from Mom." Explanation. "Does she know I know?" I asked. "Not yet," Jenna said. "I came to you first. I figured you deserved to hear it from someone who isn't trying to make it sound pretty." I sat there, staring at the laptop, my hands shaking. Jenna, I whispered, is Leah pregnant with his baby? She looked at me with so much pity I wanted to scream. She announced she was pregnant about 3 months ago, Jenna said softly. She said they'd found joy in the dark. My brain did the math, the accident, the coma, the wedding, the pregnancy. While I was unconscious in a hospital bed, they'd stood in front of a judge and promised each other forever. Now she was 6 months pregnant. I need more than screenshots, I said finally. I need proof. Jenna nodded. Then we go to the courthouse, she said. Tomorrow. The next morning, Jenna drove me to the county clerk's office. My legs still weren't steady, so she walked slowly alongside me, matching her pace to my awkward, determined steps. Inside, the office smelled like old paper and printer ink. We took a number and waited in plastic chairs that squeaked every time someone shifted. When our number was called, we stepped up to the counter. A middle-aged clerk with kind eyes looked up. "How can I help you?" she asked. "I'd like to see if there's a marriage record under the names Mark Lewis and Leah Carter," I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. "Are you one of the parties?" she asked. "I'm her twin sister," I said. "I just woke up from a coma a few months ago. I need to understand what happened while I was out." Something in my voice must have reached her. She hesitated, then nodded, and turned to her computer. Her fingers clicked over the keyboard. After a moment, her eyebrows lifted slightly. "Mark Lewis and Leah Carter," she read. "Ceremony date, August 12th last year." My heart thudded. That was exactly 6 months after my accident. 2 months before I woke up. "Do you need a copy of the license?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Please." She printed it out, stamped it, and slid it across the counter. There it was in black and white, their names, their signatures, the date, and, at the bottom, the officiant's note. Parties acknowledge understanding that one fiancé from prior engagement is in long-term coma with poor prognosis. Family present confirms. I stared at that sentence until the words blurred. "Family present," I whispered. "How many?" Jenna asked the clerk. The woman glanced back at the screen. "Looks like 2 witnesses signed, a Patricia Carter and a Thomas Carter. My parents." My knees went weak. Jenna grabbed my arm, steadying me. My parents had watched my fiancé marry my twin sister while I lay in a hospital bed and then helped hide it from me when I woke up. On the drive home, the silence felt thick and electric. "What are you going to do?" Jenna asked quietly. "I'm going to ask them," I said. "Nicely." "Once." She nodded. "If you want me there." "I appreciate it," I said. "But this part, I think I need to do alone." My moment came sooner than expected. That Mother's Day card my niece later found, it was from the small celebration my family had thrown after the courthouse wedding. There had been photos, toasts, and handwritten notes all carefully boxed away once I woke up. But at that point, standing in my parents' kitchen with the marriage certificate in one hand and Jenna's screenshots in the other, I hadn't seen any of that yet. I walked in to find my mom chopping vegetables, Leah sitting at the counter scrolling her phone. "Hey, Em," Leah said, too brightly. "How was your—" I slid the marriage certificate onto the counter between them. The room went silent. Mom's knife stopped mid-chop, Leah's face drained of color. "I went to the courthouse," I said, my voice disturbingly calm even to my own ears. "I thought if there was a misunderstanding, I'd see it there. Maybe it was a rumor, maybe the dates were wrong." I tapped the paper. "But it's all very clear, isn't it?" Leah opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Emma, Do not start with 'it's complicated,'" I said quietly. "Just answer one question. While I was in a coma, did you marry my fiancé?" Leah's eyes filled with tears. "They said you weren't going to wake up," she blurted. "The doctors said you were gone, Emma. We were grieving you." "That's not an answer," I said. "Yes," she whispered. "We got married." My chest hurt. I pressed my palm over my heart like I could hold it together physically. "And you're pregnant," I said, "with his baby." She nodded, a tear slipping down her cheek. "We didn't plan for it to happen like this," she said. We were both so broken. We were together at the hospital all the time. We cried together. One thing led to another. "Did you sleep with him before or after you married him?" I asked. Mom gasped. "Emma." "What?" I looked at her. "We're past pretending this is polite." Leah swallowed. We crossed a line about a month before the wedding," she admitted. "We told ourselves it was grief, that we were comforting each other." I closed my eyes for a moment. When I opened them, I turned to my mom. "And you?" I said. You signed as a witness. She started to cry. You have to understand. I don't, I interrupted. Explain it anyway. The doctors said you had almost no brain activity, she said. They started talking about long-term care homes. We sat in that hospital for months watching machines breathe for you. It felt like you were already gone. You had a daughter in that bed, I said. Still breathing, still there. We didn't want Mark to lose everything too, she whispered. He's a good man. He loved you so much. He stayed for months. He was falling apart. When he and Leah, when we realized they had feelings, it felt like a sign. Like maybe God was giving us a way to keep some part of you alive. By marrying my twin, I said. While I was still alive. Mom wiped her eyes angrily. What were we supposed to do? Make them wait forever? What if you'd never woken up? They'd have lost years. And what actually happened, I said slowly, is that you all decided I was gone before I was. You replaced me. You built a new little family while I was still in a hospital gown. Leah's tears were flowing now. I thought about you every day, she said. We talked about you at our wedding. We said we'd honor you. I wore your favorite color. I held up a hand. Stop. Emma, she sobbed. I never meant to hurt you. You married my fiancé and are carrying his child, I said. You just prioritized your guilt and your loneliness over any possible future I might have if I woke up. She didn't have an answer for that. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. I also have the group chat, I said. The one where you told everyone you were getting married because it's what I would have wanted. You used my name to justify it. Leah winced. I was trying to make people understand. I didn't want them to hate us. And the post about honoring your sister by living fully, I added. The pregnancy announcement made it look like I was some kind of stepping stone. Mom's shoulders slumped. We made the best decisions we could with the information we had, she said weakly. No, I said. You made the easiest decisions for yourselves. Not for me. The kitchen was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Finally, Leah whispered. What do you want us to do? We can't undo the baby. We can't undo the marriage. I took a breath. What I want? I said. I want a time machine. I want my life back. Barring that, I want honesty. I want you to stop pretending this was some tragic love story and start calling it what it is, a betrayal. Leah flinched like I'd slapped her. Mom looked away. I also want my ring back, I said. The engagement ring. Where is it? Leah's hand drifted to the simple band on her finger. She twisted it off and placed it on the counter. Beneath it was my engagement ring, the one Mark had given me in the park. You wore my ring, I said. For a while, she admitted, before we could afford a new one. I told myself you'd approve. Something inside me went very, very still. I need space, I said quietly. Starting now. Emma, you can't just... Mom started. I can, I said, and I am. I picked up my ring, slipped it into my pocket, and walked out before the dam behind my eyes broke. 2 days later, Mark texted me for the first time since I'd woken up. Mark, I heard you found out. Can we talk? I stared at the screen for a long time. Part of me wanted to throw my phone across the room. Another part wanted answers only he could give. We met in a quiet corner of a park, the same park where he'd proposed to me 3 years earlier. He looked older, more lines around his eyes. He'd lost weight. He still wore the same watch I'd given him for his birthday. Hi, he said softly, sitting on the bench across from me. Hi, I replied. For a moment we just looked at each other. Ghosts of a life we almost had together sat between us. I'm so glad you woke up, he said finally. I didn't think you would. Then why didn't you visit? I asked. After I woke up, why was there just a letter? He looked down at his hands. Because I was a coward, he said. Because I knew there was no version of that conversation where I wasn't the bad guy. That part's accurate, I said quietly. He winced. I was there every day at first, he said. I talked to you, read to you, held your hand. The doctors kept saying the same thing. No changes. No sign of improvement. Your mom kept telling me I couldn't put my life on hold forever. And Leah? I asked. She was. There, he said. Your family leaned on her. She was the one who could get your mom to eat, your dad to leave the hospital for a shower. She'd bring me coffee. We'd talk about you. We cried. A lot. He rubbed his face. One night, 5 months in, your doctor sat us down and said they didn't think you'd ever regain consciousness, he continued. They started talking about long-term care, about brain activity. It felt like I was at my own funeral. He swallowed. "I went back to your room," he said. "I remember looking at you, all the tubes and machines, and thinking, she's gone. The person I love is gone." It was unbearable. He stared out at the pond. "I leaned on Leah," he said. "Too much. I knew it even then. But it felt like she was the only person who understood that specific kind of loss." "Loss of me," I said. "Yes," he said. "I won't pretend it was noble. We were lonely and sad, and we made awful, selfish decisions and called it fate." "Did you ever stop and think, what if I'm wrong? What if she wakes up?" I asked. "Sometimes," he admitted, "but everyone kept repeating the same thing. She's gone. You have to move on. Your mom literally said to me once, Emma would want you to be happy." I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I believed him. I believed she'd said that. "We crossed a line before we got married," he said. "We kissed. Then more. We told ourselves it was grief, that we were helping each other survive." "And the wedding?" I asked. "The courthouse. The witnesses. The card." He sighed. "Your mom actually suggested we make it official if we were serious," he said. "She said it would give her something to hold on to. A grandchild. A new start." He looked at me, eyes wet. "I'm not telling you this to make you feel sorry for me," he said. I need you to know I wasn't sitting there cackling about stealing your life. I was broken, and instead of getting help, I took the easiest, most selfish comfort I could find." We sat in silence for a long moment. "Do you love her?" I asked finally. He swallowed hard. "I care about her," he said. "We've been through something intense together, and there's a baby coming. But I have never loved anyone the way I loved you." There it was, the awful, useless answer. "It doesn't really matter now," I said. "I know," he said. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't expect it. I wanted you to hear me say that I'm sorry. I failed you. In every way it's possible to fail someone." I looked at him, really looked at him, and realized something important. The person I'd planned to marry was capable of justifying marrying my twin over my unconscious body because it was too hard to be in pain. I stood up slowly. "I don't forgive you," I said. "Not right now. Maybe not ever. But I'm done carrying this as if I did something wrong." He nodded, tears slipping down his face. "I hope you heal," I said, "for the baby's sake, if not your own." I walked away without looking back. That was 6 months ago. Since then, I've moved into a small one-bedroom apartment with ramps instead of stairs and grab bars in the bathroom. I'm back to part-time work at the clinic, helping other people learn to move again after injuries. My parents call sometimes. We're polite. I see them on holidays, short visits, neutral topics. We don't talk about the wedding. Or the baby. Leah sent me a photo when her daughter was born. A little girl with a full head of dark hair. I stared at the picture for a long time. I didn't reply. Maybe one day I'll be ready to have some kind of relationship with my niece. Maybe we'll meet in a park and I'll tell her I'm her aunt, not her ghost. But that day is not today. People love to say, family is everything. What they don't tell you is that family is also just people. And people can make choices so selfish that the only healthy response is distance. If you're listening to this and you've been told to forgive and forget something that shattered you, here's the line I wish someone had said to me sooner. You are allowed to rebuild your life without the people who broke it, even if they share your blood. And you don't owe anyone a second chance at your trust just because they decided their comfort mattered more than your existence. I lost 8 months of my life to that coma, but I didn't lose myself. Waking up and learning what happened hurt more than any surgery. But I'm still here. I still get to choose the next chapter. And this time, I'm writing it without people who proved they were willing to live a whole new life over my unconscious body. So that's how I went from planning a wedding to waking up in a hospital bed and discovering my twin sister had married my fiancé while I was in a coma and is now raising his child. If there's anything I've learned, it's this. You can't control what people do when you're at your weakest. But you can control who gets to stay in your life after you see their true colors. You're allowed to set boundaries, you're allowed to walk away, and you are not heartless for refusing to pretend a deep betrayal was just a tragic love story. Now I want to hear from you. If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Would you cut them all off completely, or try to have some contact for the sake of the baby? Let me know in the comments. I read as many as I can, and your perspectives really do help shape these stories. And if you like calm, detailed, real-life story times like this about family betrayal, boundaries, and healing, Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Your support helps us keep making these long, in-depth stories for you.